Welcome, my dear friends. It's always happy for me to have you. I'm Stephen Clements, a writer, a gamer, and an appreciator of big brain activities in general. On this channel, I provide role-playing game and movie reviews, and I got started by doing this thing called dramatic readings, where I narrate my stories and those that particularly inspire me from other authors that you might want to check out, and I get to talk to interesting people. In this episode, I'm back to reporting on the delights I experienced at the 2024 H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival, Virtual Edition. In this second installment, we've got plenty more short films to look at, plus the first feature film I watched from this iteration. And this episode, it's got a roller coaster assortment of quality of the titles we're going to look at. We have my absolute favorite of the entire festival in this episode, and we also have my most hated thing that assaulted my eyeballs from the festival in the same episode. But fear not, in between those highs and lows, there's plenty of other quality creations that would be worth your time to check out at least once. And with each film, I include the name, the director, the runtime, a short story synopsis, and what I felt about the movie, along with any links I could find to the creators or to the film so you can check them out yourself. Maybe you see the exact same thing I did and you liked it where I hated it, or you hated it where I loved it. And if we have these disagreements, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe I wasn't looking at something the right way, or maybe you have really bad taste in movies. Either way, we can find out together. And I'm going to post all those details and links in the video description below, so be sure to expand that if you're interested in looking into these creations further. I'm still using the rating scheme from the first episode, which reflects both how much I enjoy it and how broad an audience I think this thing has. On a scale of 1 to 10, higher scores reflect the ever-growing broadness of the audience I think will dig it and how much they're going to dig it. Lower scores don't necessarily mean that a movie's bad, just that it's more limited in terms of its appeal, because I like a lot of really bad movies, so I got to do something to simulate the viewer like me and to deal with the general audience, to give them some score that'll help them understand what's going on. Since this film festival focuses on the cosmic horror niche, most films will be scored 6 or below, because 1 through 6 means that only true fans of the genre are going to be interested in this. 7 is that sweet spot where not only is it a banner example of the cosmic horror film genre, but this is the point at which normies might be willing to give it a try. Because a lot of general audiences, they think what a genre fan finds run-of-the-mill to be horrifying, unsettling, and all the things that it actually is, but that they don't like to experience or to see. But 7's that sweet spot where it's both magnifique and the normies might not run away at first glance. 8, 9, and 10 means that I think the film could succeed with a massive audience. But for genre films, 6 is pretty much the top score. And starting with short block number 3, we get Keepers. The short description we get from the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival website is: a lobster man will stop at nothing to understand the mystery behind a strange trap he hauls aboard. At 10 minutes long, the short film opens with a lobster man out lobstering, but not catching anything day after day. Something in the water keeps eating his bait, eliminating his catch, but whatever it is repays him with a gold bar. Yes, a big, beautiful hunk of refined gold. So our lobster man starts tossing more and better quality grub into his lobster cages because everybody likes gold. As the plot develops, we get garbled radio broadcasts that I imagine were supposed to be sources of tension and foreshadowing, but I couldn't understand the broadcasts, so it was just pointless noise. Now the lobster man gets curious and begins swimming down to try to find out what from the deep is bringing up so much gold. And here's where the film jumps the shark. And it's such a stupid plot twist that I had to give you spoiler warnings for about the next 1 minute. The main character decides to do something so impossibly, so suicidally stupid to find out where the gold is coming from that he locks himself into a lobster cage with no oxygen tank to keep himself alive, and then lowers it into the water. I get that this is supposed to be going for dramatic escalation, but come on, man. Rolling in gold from his chum to lucre scheme, he's rolling in money at this point. What does he care who's putting it there, just so long as he can afford the cocaine and the hookers? And he's got plenty of gold to do both of those as much as his heart can stand. Why would he guarantee his own death just to see what the source of the gold was? Not risking death, guaranteeing his own death. That's the stupid part that I can't forgive. The big problem here is the big twist is unreasonable and unnecessary given the level of the technology we know exists in the movie. There are underwater cameras he could have used, scuba gear, all kinds of workarounds to a move so dumb as to be unfathomable. Get it? Unfathomable. He's out to sea, fathoms. Okay. The production looked pretty good, but the main character is too stupid for me to root for. So this earned a 2 out of 10. It didn't earn a 1 because the setup is interesting, but then craps the bed. I can blame director Paul Emile of Night for Night Productions. Paul makes commercials, does video work and photography, and while technically competent, his storytelling ability needs a little help. His website has a tab with lots of information about Keepers, along with the only official trailer I could find. He also has an Instagram and Vimeo, which doesn't have this short film, but it does have some funny frat boy movies, which I would have totally made back in the day. I found the right thing to say on every dubious occasion quite amusing. Had the main character not been so stupid, this could have easily warranted a 5 or 6 out of 10. But the plot ruined it. And a lot of times we run into a situation where the plot is good, but the execution's really bad. No, this is the case where the execution was good, the plot was terrible. Anyway, moving on. In better news, our next short film is The Battle of Grover's Mill. And yes, it is better. Our festival description is, an aspiring journalist faces the unimaginable when news of a nearby crash site comes over the radio. Based on The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells and the Orson Welles Mercury Theater on-the-air radio play of the same name. At 9 minutes 31 seconds long, we get a partly animated, partly puppeted, black and white bit of cinema set in 1938 and depicting the Battle of Grover's Mill from Orson Welles' radio show The War of the Worlds. An observatory spots explosions on Mars that mysteriously head for Earth, and then we cut to a drunk reporter in the dead-end town in question. He hears the radio broadcasting that an alien invasion is underway, and the film includes Orson Welles in the voiceover, and we get into the action in the town. The dialogue's not great, but we get cool special effects and a good soundtrack. Director Nolan Sternkopf of Ghoul Capone Pictures gives us a write-up on the project, calling the Battle of Grover's Mill a passion project through and through. The idea of bringing Orson Welles' famous radio adaptation of The War of the Worlds to screen through the lens of a Golden Age film inspired him. He wanted to honor the original novel and Welles with an authentic period piece, and Sternkopf claims this to be his proudest work. I'd say he did a good job, and give it a 6 out of 10. Also, Ghoul Capone looks to be more than just Sternkopf, as their YouTube page has the entire short film and a bunch of others. I'll be checking them out more. You may also want to check out their Facebook and Insta pages. The next one, well, it's not for those who don't want sex in their violence. At 15 minutes, 24 seconds, Terminal Emulator launches us into a space journey that starts with pegging on screen. No, I'm not going to describe what pegging is, and please don't look it up. But instead of giving us a hardcore sexy mood, the short film gives off this pathetic vibe about the whole situation. And that's your warning that this short film is going to indulge creator Benjamin Capps' fetishes, and he's got some. Basically, this could be called Sex Freaks in Space. The festival's description writes, when a sexually abusive tryst in outer space ends in bloodshed, a distraught corporate executive faces demons after her lover provides a psychedelic designer drug. Our hard-to-like girl boss female wants to get back to Earth from Jupiter, is planning on how to do so, and fearing abandonment because who is going to peg him if she goes, her bitch boy offs himself. Yes, that's a line I just said, in a recorded product. Life surprises you. In her angst, she almost slits her own throat on screen, and this thing is intense. From there we get a psychosexual Jungian descent into drug-induced madness, ending with a stop-motion demon dong and more nudity. Nudity that I promise you don't want to see. The demon speaks German, because obviously it does, and this is why you don't do acid, kids. You never know if this is the kind of reality it will trap you in. While having bad vocal mixing and crass, unlikable characters, Terminal Emulator does feel like a coherent David Lynch movie in space. Its soundtrack is effective, and the ending delivers on the horrible promise foretold. While definitely not for everyone, I give it a 5 out of 10. Genre fans that are okay with what I described will likely enjoy the experience, because the cosmic horror genre has a lot of niche interests in it, and genre fans that are into the kind of thing that I described will enjoy this. And it is pretty well put together, minus the flaws I noted. Director Benjamin Capps' production label, The Inner Below, has a YouTube channel with trailers for this and a few complete short films. He's also on Instagram, IMDb, and the Enter Below website. Next up, we still get gross, but not that kind of gross, with short film Fermento. A nauseous baker is amazed of what the rottenness of his kitchen has been able to create. A fermented dough to the point of monstrosity, capable of wipe him out. Yes, of wipe him out. This thing was made in Mexico. What do you want? This is 4 minutes and 30 seconds of stop-motion claymation about the ghost of a roach killed in a filthy Hispanic bakery getting revenge. While grotesque, the roach is kind of cute, which is saying something because roaches are the only creatures I kill on sight, no questions asked. It is a jaunty, haunting soundtrack, and it delivers what it sets out to do. It was neat. 5 out of 10. Unfortunately, I could find almost nothing about this film or director Andrea Ortega Botello to share with you besides an abandoned YouTube channel. A film festival posted the short's trailer so you can get a glimpse of it, and searching Instagram produced some interesting results, but those results don't get this thing in the running for the Tasty Thighs Award. Next, we have another competent production, The Patron. Our description is, a friendly, earnest librarian named Howard gets swept into a blood ritual involving ancient powers when Jeff, a delusional and obsessed patron, attempts to summon a god in the library. 7 minutes 15 seconds long. Don't try to summon a god, folks. If you succeed, you just asked for way more than you can handle, and if you failed, you get that sense of you're a loser because you're trying to summon a god and couldn't do it. Like the god was out there to listen to you, and it still didn't want to be around you. That's not going to be good for your self-esteem. Don't do it. So Jeff's plan works and accidentally ropes in a far too helpful librarian, and we get a suitably horrifying outcome. Along the way, there's a good soundtrack and acting in this creation by Avery Abigail, sponsored by funding site Seed and Spark. Sadly, there was very little available to show you about this. I could only find just this little bit about the director and the project page on Seed and Spark. There is a fundraiser pitch video, but no trailer, and the pitch video doesn't have the movie in it. Still, it was pretty good, so 5 out of 10 if you can find it. The next one hyped me up so much, y'all, I had to watch it 3 times. I watched this thing 3 times. So I guess that's one of the benefits of the virtual experience. You can rewatch things as long as you have the time to do it. I absolutely loved it, but it wasn't my favorite of the festival. The competition was fierce, y'all, in 2024. It was close, but let me tell you about Burnout. Our description is, an assistant will do anything to get a presentation in front of his boss, even set himself on fire. Running 12 minutes 32 seconds, our main character, played by Everett Osborne, wants to climb the corporate ladder and has obsession with hustle. He's a failed athlete trying his hand at a sports management agency, and his boss is an absolute hard ass, the boss of nightmares. He's also one of the coolest villains I have ever seen, and actor Tommy Earl Jenkins was spellbinding in the role. This guy is why I watched this thing 3 times and would keep watching it if I had access to it. He's been in a ton of video games and TV shows, and I see why. He has so much swag, it could be bottled and exported. With the villain boss pushing him to impress or be cast aside, Everett's protagonist is a walking ball of mental stress and impending breakdown. This commentary on toxic corporate culture oozes style, and when our lead literally burns himself to meet the demands, what happened next gave me genuine shock. If the description I gave you has you wondering what's the cosmic horror angle here, believe me, it's there. I'm just not going to tell it to you because that would be an unforgivable spoiler. I want you to experience this for yourself. Burnout was the slickest production of the festival. Why is that? How could that have happened? Probably because director Russell Golden's executive producer is Jamie Lee Curtis. Yes, the Jamie Lee Curtis, the horror legend, the box office smasher back in the day. Golden apparently works for Curtis, and they collaborate on projects, including his 2022 short film, Return to Cinder. They got a lot of film festival love, including winning 2 of them and being nominated in 3 more. So Burnout is an easy 9 out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10. If someone had told me that there was a cosmic horror short film that was not only top shelf for the genre, that could get fantasy football nerds to like it as well, I would have been incredulous before seeing Burnout. But now I believe. So check out Goldman on Vimeo, Instagram, and IMDb. Unfortunately, we don't have access to the full film, but there's a trailer. From that high, hold on kids, we're going straight down from here. Tranquilizer runs for 27 minutes and 21 seconds, and sadly, is not worth that runtime. Our official description is, in a dystopian Copenhagen, an anonymous man is tasked with a dangerous yet routine assignment. Danish director Tobias Enevoldsen of midlife crisis films takes a long time to tell the story of a guy whose job is to go into a contaminated area because there's some freaky portal at the end of a hallway, and we get to experience the monotony of dealing with it as a day-to-day activity. It has a slimy, grimy Chernobyl feel to it, with apathetic co-workers, rundown facilities, substandard equipment, and there is some foreshadowing that raises the tension level. Basically, if you made a movie about one of the guys in Stranger Things dealing with the Russian portal to the Upside Down, that's what this is, just without the better pacing of the show. An accident happens on one of Homeboy's forays, and he decides to take a deep trip. There's continuity problems, and while I wanted to like it, it didn't give me enough reason to do so. So 3 out of 10. If you're bored, it'll keep you company, and it does have flashes of interest in it. YouTube has a trailer, but I couldn't find much else about it or the director. Thus concludes short film block number 3. And if that was a letdown from the commanding heights of Burnout, sit on back and let me tell you the tragedy of Void Caller. Our first feature film, just looking at the thumbnail for it, I knew this was going to suck. Go ahead, drink it in. Does this look like it's going to be a good time? No, it doesn't. And guess what? It's not a good time. Here's the festival description. Anna wakes up with a mysterious gap in her memory. With the help of a dangerous psychedelic, she starts to uncover memories of something sinister on a cosmic scale. That sounds interesting, but I assure you, it's not. It's Swedish, 86 minutes long, and it justifies judging a book by its cover. This was terrible. This was the worst thing I saw in the festival. Again, misleading us. The official poster is actually good, but that wasn't the first image I saw, and it would have misled me into thinking this could be a good movie. It's black and white with grainy fog and the cheapest sets possible, so it's not much to look at. We get a waste of an opening credit sequence, and then we're stuck with a female lead that has the worst delivery of any actor in the film. Why the lead character in this movie is an American who can't speak Swedish in a Swedish film set in Sweden? I don't know. A lot of people like to talk about ethnic and racial representation in films, so I'll play along. Why are the Swedes all taking a back seat to someone who's clearly not ethnically or racially Swedish in a Swedish film? And who's terrible at her job? There's plenty of Swedish people in the film, and every one of them does a better job of being interesting on screen than her and delivering lines than her. And honestly, her entire storyline could have been cut in its entirety. And the movie could have still worked pretty well, and actually I think better in some ways. And it does seem like the movie forgets that she's there for vast stretches of runtime, and it becomes a more interesting movie in the process. But I digress. Let me tell you what happens at an excruciating pace in this thing. Main character just arrived in Sweden from America because her sister that lives there has gone radio silent for weeks, and she's worried. Turns out there's a secret cabal of people that have drank of this color out of space adjacent water that they carry around in jars, which we're introduced to by a conspiracy theorist type character trying to crack a code. That scene was artfully done, and he was the most interesting character and actor in the entire film. Remember I said was, because he also dies the soonest, so if you want to see a guy's scalp slowly sawed off with a knife, this is the movie for you. Who killed him? Why, it was another person who drank the cosmically spiced water that solely possesses them and takes them over for one purpose. Big spoilers here, but I beg you not to put yourself through this movie. So let me go ahead and tell you the interesting parts, and then you can move on with your life and not go through this like I did. Call it a mercy killing of your interest. The contaminated water was cosmic horror skeet sent throughout the cosmos by a Lovecraftian entity marooned on a distant planet with no idea where to go next. So it sent out its essence in the hope to find a suitable planet to devour and send the signal back to the entity, who could then travel there and go crunchy munchy. Which would mean if the cabal succeeds, it's headed to Earth, and why the contaminated are trying to make a signaling device to tell it to come here, and one cabal member who got clean wants to destroy it. The actual plot is interesting, even if there are some logic holes that might have been covered in some of the interminable scenes that I skipped before it picks up the pace and starts doing anything worth watching. This thing bored me so much, I kept skipping forward to the next scene, desperate for something entertaining to happen. If you think that's cheating in a review, bear in mind my normal rule for a movie I've never seen before is to give it 20 minutes. If after the end of 20 minutes I don't give a shit about anything going on here, I'm moving on. I'm going on to the next film. So the fact that I sat through this whole thing, just skipping a few parts, is way more time than this movie deserved. Had this thing been cut down to 45 minutes or 60 minutes even, it would have helped a lot. And a problem with a lot of indie cosmic horror movies is they don't invest you in the characters. If you don't give a shit about the characters, you don't give a shit about what happens to them. As previously mentioned, the one character that was interesting and that we could have rooted for got killed off the earliest in the movie. And the next most interesting character that we could root for was the person who killed him, but she's on a redemption arc. But we did just watch her brutally murder one of her friends. That's a hard gap to overcome. It's hard to forget what she did, but by the end of the movie, we do want her to succeed, even if we're not necessarily 100% invested in her. The survival of the Earth depends on her destroying the signal box. And her final fight in the floral shop to do just that, that thing was intense. And remember the American chick that was supposed to be the main character? Yeah, she didn't have a lot to do with that storyline. Instead, she goes down a rabbit hole where she thinks she had something to do with her sister's disappearance, can't remember how, and seeks out a memory-affecting drug that's being tested, not really officially because it's already flunked out in the official drug trials. This is back alley testing. And the resolution of that storyline was satisfyingly horrible. We got a good soundtrack, but the pace of this thing is glacial and it's ugly to look at. I'm being incredibly generous giving this thing a 2 out of 10 because as much as I hated most of it, I'm still giving credit for the parts I did like. I couldn't find where to send hate mail to director Nils Alatalo or a YouTube or Vimeo channel of his. There is a YouTube trailer, but be warned, the trailer makes the movie look way cooler than it really is. The Reformed Cabal member's actress, the one who we were supposed to root for most of the movie, her name's Astrid Olafsson. She didn't do a bad job, and she has a reel of some of her scenes on her Vimeo, so if you want to see a little bit more of it, that's available. Wait, I found Nils has an Instagram, so I can heckle him there, as he richly deserves. According to a photograph I saw, the movie might be available on Splatter, which I guess is some streaming platform, but I'm not going to any more trouble telling you where to find the movie I hated the most of any in the festival. Do not watch this thing. If you made it through that travesty, well, you're in luck. Short film Block 4 gets us back on track with music band Jump Rope's occult music video, Head Size. At about 3.5 minutes, two friends meddle with dark forces, summoning a creature from their nightmares. So I lived in Portland for a couple years, and we open with some authentic Portland lesbian witches who meet up for girl time and find a fake Necronomicon. Obviously, at girl parties, blood rites and summonings go on and antics ensue, both horrible and funny. This is an angry vagina rock music video, and it was really fun. It's riddled with cosmic horror elements, succinctly tells a complete story, and the music's good. Director Matthew Hardisty's IMDb says he works in the camera and electrical fields on productions, with no real directing credits. But I say he did a fine job. So music group Jump Rope. I hadn't heard of them, but this video makes me want to see what else they've done. They don't appear to have a big following, the director isn't known for much, and the budget couldn't have been large, but we get an awesome short film with humor, horror, heart, and good special effects. This is a 7 out of 10. If you know women that like being angsty and sullen, show them this, like I did with my wife. She watched it and totally vibed with what was going on. Jump Rope has an Instagram page you can check out, and the full video is available on YouTube. So watch it and tell them what you think. I thought it was really fun. Now that we're back in good movie territory, we come to my favorite creation in a year that saw some stiff competition. Despite how good some of the short films I've mentioned were and how good many of them are going to be in future episodes, there is no question in my mind that the short film for me from the 2024 Film Festival is the one I'm about to tell you about because it hit me right in my nasty, dirty, horror happy spot. I'm talking about Innsmouth Blvd. The official description is short, saying only a private eye takes on a routine stakeout, only to find himself investigating an occult ritual. At 19 minutes and 58 seconds long, we get started with gay sex, caught with non-consensual photography with Billy D. Williams behind the camera. I mean, the private eye played by Wade Pearson. The PI is being sent on various jobs after named Lovecraft characters by his crooked and disrespectful boss. And this noir short film is mostly black and white with selective and impactful turns with color. The story follows our main character, Joseph Mayfield, a young black photographer relegated to taking dirty pictures for blackmail because it's ye olden days. Democrats probably run the city he lives in, and he's black, so there's no respectable work for him. He dreams of making it big with important photography, not scandal pictures. And then the girl of his dreams enters his life. Unfortunately, he's dirty, she's dirty, everybody in this film is low down and dirty, and I am absolutely here for it. If you ever enjoyed a John Waters film or Jerry Springer style bad romance plot twists, this is the short film for you. Mayfield is driven by the lust for money, fame, and success, all of which is in short supply for him because he has a very selective set of morals and ethics, but the wrong one crops up at the wrong time every time to screw him over. This guy gets absolutely bodied the entire movie, hitting levels of loser dirtbag I didn't think possible. And it is so good. Anyway, so he and the girl of his dreams have a bad romance. It goes the same as when Lady Gaga goes to a dinner party, and that weaves seamlessly into the cosmic horrors that come to pass. I got vibes similar to John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness towards the end, and this was seriously cool. I would definitely watch more tales of Joseph Mayfield made by this crew. We get good acting, sets, costumes, cinematography, and a great ending. This is one of those diamonds I hope to find in film festivals because it makes the whole thing worthwhile. This is why short films can be so amazing. Like I said, lead character Joseph Mayfield was played by Wade Pearson, and our director was Ethan Messaker of Pastel Grave Productions. We're all in luck because the full video is on YouTube, and the Pastel Grave Productions YouTube page has a lot of other short films on display, so I'll look more into what else they've done. On Instagram, you can find the two principals behind Pastel Grave, and Wade Pearson is also on Instagram and IMDb. This gets a 7 out of 10 because it's as good as it gets for the genre fan, and edgier normies will enjoy it, like my wife did. However, it's a dirty, shameful, hurtful bit of cosmic horror noir, and many normies will be unsettled by it. It's my favorite film of the festival, and I honestly can't stop thinking about it. So after that sinful ride, we arrive at something on the other, more whimsical end of the cosmic horror spectrum, a puppetry reimagining of my favorite H.P. Lovecraft short story, The Outsider. Our official description reads, a mysterious woman in a shadowy realm braves the unknown and discovers her true nature in a dark revelation that changes her world forever. Based on the story by H.P. Lovecraft. Pagan Circus made this just shy of 16 minutes long short film, and we have looked at their work before in the 2023 Film Festival, where creator Monstark dropped the short thriller Night Gaunts on us. I liked that one, and I like this one. If you're unfamiliar with the Outsider's story, it follows a mysterious person trapped in an underworld that climbs up a harrowing journey to the surface world, and horror hijinks ensue. It's pockmarked with touches of beauty and wonder, so this is a more intimate and vulnerable Lovecraft tale, which might be why it's my favorite. I've even done a dramatic reading of it for the channel. You should check it out. This production slightly changes some of the material, but in a very acceptable and organic way to the spirit of the original. There's a good music score, some CGI, really cool designs, and excellent lighting. It's quite well done, and I think a genre fan can entice some normies to watch and like this, so it's getting a 7 out of 10 from me. Monstark has his own webpage, an active Instagram account, and is happy to talk to people, so just message him if you want. And an Outsider trailer can be found on his YouTube page, so check him out. Now this next one has a funny name, but it is deadly as a heart attack. I give you 24 minutes and 20 seconds of Bananahead. The official description: after her mother's disappearance, Andy Sanger hopes to land the lead role in the adaptation of her mother's best-selling novel, Bananahead. But after discovering the haunting legacy within the walls of her familial home, her own aspirations threaten to tear her apart. Our protagonist is the daughter of a missing author, and she's trying to make something of herself. She moves into that aforementioned creepy house that happens to have a cursed mirror of desire, and she has an intriguing descent into madness using it. I don't want to get into more specifics than that because the movie earns its dramatic escalations with good atmosphere and glam horror to perfectly stick the landing. This was really cool, and symbolically it works on a few levels. This creation of director Christopher Greenslate at Weird Kid Workshop is well worth an 8 out of 10 rating, because the horror fan will like it, and the subject matter is relatable to normies who, if they can handle some horror, will dig this one. I couldn't find the trailer or full movie anywhere, but director Greenslate is on IMDb, Instagram, and YouTube, where there are also several interviews with him, mostly about his award-winning feature film, Saviors, which is available online both for free and for pay. Considering the style he put into Bananahead, I'm adding Saviors to my to-watch list. I just wish I could show you something about Bananahead. It was really good. Not normally subject matter I would be interested in because it's so female vanity focused, but it was really good. I had no problem getting into it. And from those heights, we come down just a little bit to 6-minute, 1-second short film, Better Like This. A young man brings home an antique Oculus sign and unknowingly lets a shadowy force into his life. This is a rare silent film that's actually in color, where every time this guy takes off his glasses, he sees a dark figure looming nearby. He also romances a girl, and there's no real plot here. It's more of a mood piece than anything else, which is fine. I'd still give it a 5 out of 10. It's nice and short, interesting enough. You'll be slightly entertained, and I didn't find anything really wrong with it. I also couldn't find anything wrong about director Brian Hauser because there's next to nothing on him or Better Like This. I couldn't find a single link beyond this bare bones IMDb page. Wait, it lists a second director, Daniel Nienhuis, and he has a YouTube channel populated with short films that dried up years ago, a sparse Instagram, and a dead website. So, dang, I've got nothing to give you on this one. Well, you weren't really missing out on a lot, but it was neat. And for the last short film of this episode, we're finishing strong with Lab Rats. At 18 minutes and 27 seconds long, a man finds himself in a cage like a lab rat, the most recent abductee of a prolonged alien invasion. There he joins a woman, a day one abductee, long consigned to the mind-altering drugs given to her by their alien overlords. Together, they must decide whether or not to succumb to being pets, or face the absurd horror of their reality and find a way to escape the lab. This tale of human abductees in a cage is shocking, horrifying. It has neat sets, good acting, and to the message, I can fucking relate. So this is comedic horror with believable aliens, and is in the spirit of the Porno for Pyro song about us making great pets for a more advanced race someday, and that's basically what happens. I could go scene by scene describing it, but you know what you need to know to decide if you want in or not. But my 9 out of 10 score says I think you and most people should. When it becomes available, that is. There's no trailer or full video I could find, but considering how entertaining this was, you may want to watch the trailer for director Stimson Sneed's upcoming movie, Tim Travers and the Time Traveler's Paradox. It's about a mad scientist who time travels to the past to kill himself, and hijinks ensue. It's got a heck of a cast on it with Felicia Day, Joel McHale, Danny Trejo, Keith David, the director, and more. Director Sneed's YouTube has older short films listed to check out, but not this one, while his Vimeo appears to have a different collection of short films. According to his IMDb, he's won a few film festivals, so people must think he has talent. Lab Rats shows that to be true, so watch it when it comes out. And that's all the reviews I have for this episode, so hopefully some of those have intrigued you into checking out the full versions that I pointed out, or at least the trailers, if they're available. And if you're interested in seeing the 2025 Film Festival for yourself, do go to the HP Lovecraft Film Festival Facebook page and their website, where you can get the details as they come out. And they also upload interviews and other contents to their YouTube channel with film creators like those I talked about today. Links to all that in the video description below. And once again, my dear friends, I thank you for your time and that you chose to spend it with me and this topic I'm passionate about, cosmic horror films. So, as we part for now, I wish you nothing but the best.